Thank you for giving me this opportunity. First of all, I want to thank you for yesterday's wisdom to allow engineer and the rest of members of parliament to have a sitting with the committee. Mr. Speaker, I realized today that the motions that were raised in this house were almost for nothing, because we got into a very fair understanding with the team on the issues. First of all, we realized that we were not, there was no dispute on the provisions of the Constitution, Article 221, subsection 4 and 5. We realized that the arguments were really on the modalities and the way to do public hearings. Mr. Speaker, I think this is one area that we'll continue to explore until we arrive at that situation where we are all in agreement as this House, so that we can follow the provisions of the Constitution of Article 221, which otherwise we cannot help. So I just thought I should thank you for that, because it provided a good avenue for all of us to get into an understanding. Mr. Speaker, having said that, the budget policy statement that is in front of us today is a statement in our country that is supposed to cover broadly 3 basic areas. First of all, it's supposed to provide the general macroeconomic outlook for our economy. Secondly, it's supposed to provide for how we are going to fund our budget. And that is the revenues, resources, projected revenue sources, projected expenditures, and projected borrowing. Mr. Speaker, the other thing that the policy budget statement is supposed to do, really, is to provide for ceilings for different government expenditure areas. And finally, it's supposed to provide for the fiscal responsibility that we need as a country on the running of our budget, generally the government fiscal policy. Mr. Speaker, if I were to look at these areas provided by the budget policy statement, I think this year is one year that I would say truly God is on our side as a country. Our economy 2015 has peaked very well for obviously good reasons, Mr. Speaker. The World Bank just upgraded our economic outlook from about 4.7% to about 6.9%. It is rarely that you see the World Bank trying to upgrade the projections as far as the economy is concerned. And there are inputs to this economy that are providing a lot of leverage for us to have a good economic growth, and help our people prosper. The first one, Mr. Speaker, is the standard gauge railway, and I want to thank the Jubilee government for starting this project, because it will create, it will create expenditures and investments into economy that will put our economy forward, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I think the other thing that's what I'm mentioning in terms of macroeconomic outlook is the inflationary pressure that has always been a big problem to our economy. It has always been the biggest risk, Mr. Speaker, and now standing at about 6%. It is, we got another hand of God with the fall of oil prices. The oil prices have fallen around the world to about $65 a barrel. And that's just been a lifeline to our economy, being an oil importing nation, Mr. Speaker. It is, Mr. Speaker, for that reason, that we expect our economy to gain out of the oil to about 1.2% of GDP. And oil goes further to help our economy. You know, the shilling has had a lot of pressure. And now with the oil prices coming down, we expect our exchange rate to remain stable. Although the shilling has been really resilient for this period of time, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we still have risks to our economy, like security, because we depend on tourism. And unless something is addressed as far as terrorism is concerned, Mr. Speaker, we might have a really soft underbelly in terms of tourism. And I hope, I tend to be, to thank the appointment of Honorable Gaiseri, because, I don't know, for some reason, we've had a good time since he got in. I don't know whether it's about him, or it's about sentiment about him that made us get some good security results for the last few months. Mr. Speaker, but talking of revenues and expenditures, Mr. Speaker, our revenue source projection is only about 1.4 trillion, where our budget is about 2 trillion Kenya shillings. So, Mr. Speaker, you expect that the 6 trillion deficit is funded by borrowing. And we remain, as always, which is unfortunate, Mr. Speaker, as a deficit budget country. We've never had a surplus year, I think, since independence. And we need to get there, because that's the only time we can create sovereign wealth. Mr. Speaker, today, we need to be very careful about ballooning government expenditure, because it's the reason why we now have a budget deficit of about 600 million Kenya shillings. Billion Kenya shillings. It is government expenditure in itself is a good thing to the economy. But when government becomes a borrower, because it cannot finance its budget through revenues, it impacts on the lives of every Kenyan, all the Wanjikus around Kenya, and all the people who live outside of this country, inside of this country. It affects the interest rates, the most important thing that all of us tend to get out of our banks. And it creates something called crowding out effect, which is what we should avoid. But I'm glad that through the wisdom of this committee and involvement with Treasury, we've capped one very important area in that aspect, and that is the domestic borrowing to a ceiling of 200 billion Kenya shillings. Mr. Speaker, I think that one will go a long way in helping our economy. Mr. Speaker, another thing I wanted to say here is that, having sat through the committee meetings, I realized that there is a reason why the budget policy statement provides for ceilings for various ministries. And I want to appreciate the Treasury for the kind of ceilings they provided this year, Mr. Speaker. I realize that ministries would like to circumvent ceilings created by Treasury, but if you look them very closely, you realize that Treasury does all these things in very good faith, Mr. Speaker. I looked at the Ministry of Tourism. The last budget, they wanted to increase by about 3%. You cannot just wake up one day and start thinking that what you spent last year should go up by about 300%, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, today, I just like everybody else, I wasn't very sympathetic about the SRC's budget being cut. But Mr. Speaker, I realize that some of these commissions take this House for granted in so many ways. So, since the House has already passed that, I'll go with the House. But probably, maybe next time we should consult them a little bit, because I don't know, I didn't see the rationale, the exact rationale why we should do that to them. But again, maybe it is the attitude of these commissions that has made this out act in so punitive ways. Mr. Speaker, I want to thank the Committee of Budget and those my friends like engineer who brought this proposal so that we can put some money in addition to CDF to economic stimulus. Mr. Speaker, I want to speak about the CDF, which Mr. Speaker, has been one of the greatest success stories of our country. If you were to go anywhere in our nation, anywhere, and I mean any part of our country, you will realize that CDF has had a success story in almost every village. I don't know any other program that will be so successful like CDF. And there's a reason why CDF is so successful. It is because we have capped, we have put ceilings, apart from the devolution, which is right, we've devolved it, it was the first devolution. But I think there is another element that's very important within the CDF framework. We've put CDF at almost 95 development and only at 6% recurrent. I think that is the kind of things that counties should try to borrow. They should borrow the best practices from CDF, because that's why CDF is working. It's not an expenditure program. It is a development program. And if county money were to be put in the same way, Mr. Speaker, I think it will go a long way in helping our people. Mr. Speaker, the other thing I wanted to speak about is the money that we are giving into different legislative bodies within here in Parliament. Mr. Speaker, you've just heard that we've given some money, just like what we did last year, to the women representatives of this House. But I want to ask the ladies and everybody who is in this House that let's stop this attitude of thinking that we provide money because somebody is suffering. That money is provided because there is a need gap that the women representatives are going to fill. It's not because they're suffering. There is a need gap somewhere. And I think we should stop this attitude of thinking that we get money because of legislators. Because CDF is not really my CDF. It's not me. It's because it's something called constituency that's not covered by anybody, and that need gap is what CDF is covering. It's not because I'm a member of Parliament. Mr. Speaker, I support. Thank you.
All right.